And welcome back to A View in the Press Box. Glyn, Dyar with 247 Sports and Dima Mixon here with the Pine Belt News, recapping an impressive three-game sweep of the 2026 Round Rock Classic Tournament in Round Rock, Texas. The Golden Eagles, number 12 ranked Southern Miss baseball Golden Eagles now. Sweep the Round Rock Classic. We're going to break down each game. We're going to look ahead to Alabama tomorrow night at the Pete in a very chilly night, what is turning out to be a more than likely very chilly night tomorrow night at the Pete. And then sometime later in the week, we'll get into a preview of the Louisiana Tech series. I'm going to go through the games really quickly, Glenn, and then just kind of get your overall thoughts. Then we'll go into each game. And I know that some of the streaming things for you is a little sparse, so I know that we're going to be kind of an overarching theme at all of this, but we're still going to hit some main points that we want to talk about. But you come out Friday. Oh, well, first off, Glenn, how are you? How are you doing? To kind of bring you in here.
I'm good, man. I'm a little tired. I've been on the road for the last 3 days, going back and forth from here to Daphne and back.
Oh, that's not fun. Well, I've been cooped up just watching baseball and golf since I had my wisdom teeth surgery on Friday. So if you're seeing me on camera and my face looks bigger than my head, it's not because I'm overly smart because I just had my wisdom teeth taken out. It's actually because, my wisdom teeth was taken out.
Do you feel dumber for doing it?
I do. I'm really good. You know why it's dumb is because I did it in baseball season. That means no PT Park press box popcorn for the next week or two. Yeah. So that's pretty stupid. You have to be really dumb. You have to take your wisdom out to not eat that popcorn.
Yeah, Joe will have to step in for you and consume the popcorn.
Yeah, shout out Joe Harper. Okay, so Glenn, Southern Miss comes out, walk-off winner against Purdue 5-4 in the opening round game of the 2026 Round Rock Classic. And then they come back on Saturday evening and beat a really good Oregon State team, top 15 ranked, at the time, 11th ranked Oregon State team. And then yesterday's game against Baylor, kind of just a strange snooze fest, sleepwalk game. Both teams, 8 walks for Southern Miss, 9 for Baylor, so 17 on the base pass, just in walks and free passes, not to mention all the hit by pitches. But Southern Miss, survives it, and they 3-hit Baylor and keep them to 1 run and get out of there with a sweep of the weekend. I think both you and I thought they would get 2 out of 3, and we felt like that was pretty good, to come out of there 2 out of 3, Glenn. But to come out of there with a sweep, I mean, it. I was reading on your boards today. Shout out 247 Sports on Golden Eagle Pride. It has a chance to be one of the best sweeps in program history. If I was just sitting there thinking about it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you didn't want to be that committed to it, it certainly was Oz's, signature, series of tournament victories there. That's a defining moment for his career to this point.
Yeah, no doubt. Of course, he's 0-2 in regionals. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. And of course, nobody's questioning Oz at this job, but he hasn't won a regional yet. Scott Berry only won 3, so it's not like it's easy to do. But, he's 0-2 in regionals, but gets this one. And, Glenn, I mean, what does it say about this program? I mean, to go out there and, really dominate all 3 of those games outside of the Purdue game, the Oregon State game kind of, I don't know if you can say dominate it, but Southern Miss clearly showed that they were there and they were a team to compete with all 3 of those teams, number one. But number 2, it was a team that Southern Miss, Oregon State, Baylor, and Purdue are probably looking at Southern Miss saying, I don't know if we can beat these guys.
Yeah, probably all 3 of those teams, certainly 2 are going to be in regional somewhere, but when the season's over. Yeah, I mean, the thing I like about Southern has been from day one, they find different ways to win games, starting pitching sometimes, the bullpen sometimes, get to the back end and it's dominant sometimes. Different guys, heroes with a bat. I like the way they can win games, kind of a layered approach. They're not a one-trick pony. So I like that. I guess, if you want to talk about anything that really concerned you was maybe some defensive lapses that fortunately did not come back to bite them.
Right.
When you make those kind of mistakes against number 11, generally you pay for it. And, we were fortunate to get out of that game without being an issue. So they're going to need to tighten up some things, in the infield.
And we talked about that, right? We previewed that in the beginning of the season, saying there were some things that are going to happen where we thought it was just growing pains. We didn't think it'd lose them any games necessarily. You're right, where they were kind of lucky to get out of that. And we'll get into that in the Oregon State game. First, Purdue. Colby Allen starts the Purdue game. 5 innings pitched, hit 5 hits, no earned runs. Does give up that unearned run. It was, I think, if I remember correctly, a leadoff single, and then he advanced to third on a wild pitch. So that would give him the unearned run there. 5 strikeouts, 87 total pitches. Improvement for Colby Allen over last Friday, Glenn.
Yeah, he had more command, and I think his slider was much better.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. His slider was better, and I feel like he was commanding both those pitches. That way, he wasn't having to lean in on that changeup so much. And when that changeup did come in there, that's when he would get that swing and miss. I did think that he gets a little frustrated kind of early. That one thing that I was noticing when watching him, I think he's gets a little frustrated when that swing and miss just isn't coming as naturally or as aggressively early in the counts, because he got to a lot of 1-2s, like almost exclusively 1-2s in all of his first few batters he faced, and almost every one of them got to a 3-2, decision pitch there. So that is something to watch. And of course, 87 pitches and gets them through 5 innings. I mean, I guess that's fine, but of course they want to see more from him to be the Friday night guy.
Yeah, and in regard to frustration, maybe it's the pressure being the Friday night guy that that carries a lot of pressure. But Oz is one of the best in the business of the mental side of the game. If he sees that that's an issue, I'm sure they'll have a 10-minute conversation and that'll be fine. I mean, Colby's mature and he's a cool customer, so it maybe just need to maybe a matter of awareness.
Sure. Southern Miss takes a 4-1 lead there in the bottom of the 4th inning. And then it really just kind of stays that way. But then Purdue puts up a 3 spot in the top of the 8th to tie the game kind of immediately. Josh Rock comes in the 9th inning, shuts down a bases loaded jam in the 9th inning, and then Dre Barrett walks it off in the bottom of the 9th with a double after a Gillespie single to put that game away and kind of win that game there. And you kind of mentioned it, Glenn. This team has found so many ways to win over the first few games, whether or not it's the UC Santa Barbara series where it was just, like a back and forth game, both those Saturday, Sunday games, that Southeastern Louisiana win where it's a pitcher's duel and you just got to find 1 or 2 hits there, here or there. And then now, this is their second walk-off of the season against Purdue, against what I thought was a really scrappy Purdue team. I mean, we thought they were probably the easier team to beat. But, I mean, man, that was a good team, and they actually beat Oregon State on Sunday.
Yeah, those guys are impressive. The little bit that I did get to see, I guess there's something to be said for being a Big Ten high-resource team, because those guys had some – I'm used to looking at football players, checking bodies out, and those guys are big physical dudes. They could run. Initially when I saw the report that they could run and bunt and all this stuff, I thought they're going to be a bunch of smaller, quicker guys. They're just big physical. Some of them look like running backs. I was impressed with their bodies. I think they're going to have a big season this year.
I do too. They were very impressive. I mean, that was a back and forth game, could have gone either way. And of course, Southern Miss walks it off there in the 9th inning. Ock comes in really good. I thought Ock looked probably the best he's looked all season.
Yeah, he's back, and that's a huge plus.
So big. And then Camden Clark, of course, to close there in the top of the 9th inning. So Camden Clark and Ock should be available tomorrow night against Alabama, at least for an inning or so, but we'll have to see. All right, moving on to the Oregon State game, Glenn. This was really just a great all-around college baseball game. I mean, it was
two stud lefties going at it, man.
Yes, and both teams, I think, have a chance to get deep in postseason play this spring. Golden Eagles. I'll just recap the game and then kind of just get your thoughts on. We'll start with Graydon Harris in a second, but just to recap the game, Golden Eagles take the 1-0 lead with that backside Urban home run. Oregon State with the equally a backside home run, 3-run homer, and that was due to some defensive issues there to give Oregon State the lead 3-1. And then Southern Miss went 3 runs in the 6th, 3 runs in the 7th, 1 run in the 8th, 1 run in the 9th to kind of take control of that game and win it 9-4. Only pitching 3 pitchers, but really it was only 2 because Cole Richardson threw like 4 pitches maybe. But it was really the mix between Graydon Harris and Camden Sundstrom. Glenn, me and you have probably seen every pitch of Graydon Harris in live action for the most part, that was just about as good as I've seen him.
Yeah, his fastball was dominant. He had some ride and he had some run on it. It was running into righties, running away from lefties, and he touched 95, I believe. I heard Jack say over the broadcast. That's impressive. He he's going against one of the premier lefties in the country, and an all American, probably gonna be a first round draft pick, and he matched him for the most part, pitch for pitch.
He did, and he was working in that cutter too. That was, I think, the most impressive.
That's a nice little change of pace off that fastball.
And the Oregon State batters just couldn't figure it out. 5 innings pitched, 6 hits overall, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, career high 8 strikeouts in 88 total pitches. I mean, if he can give you that performance, it's not going to be probably that dominant each week, but you still want him to get to about the 6th or 7th inning. I would say that for all of these starters, but he's on the right direction from what we saw a week ago against UC Santa Barbara for sure.
Yeah, and that game, once they got Kleinschmidt out of there, I mean, I was expecting that pen to be freaking lights out, and they had their troubles, and I think they had their troubles in other games as well. Once Kleinschmidt was out, it seemed like multiple innings, we were in hitters counts over and over again until our guys, kudos to them. They found fastballs and punished them, man. But they were in counts where they could sit down and look for that fastball. So, and they took advantage of it.
In that 3rd inning when and I'm going to pull it up here because I want to make sure I'm saying it right. I'm pretty sure, but I believe it was a fielder's choice that should have been a double play that they ended up going first. And I think it was Seth Smith, and he thought about going to second, but there was kind of miscommunication.
It was long.
It was long. Okay.
Yeah. Look, I think it was a situation where Morrison did not get to the bag in time, and it kind of made long double clutch, before he tried that. Once he saw he wasn't going to get there, and he couldn't get there physically, for the unassist, he just had to try to cut it loose. So I get it, but it can't happen.
Right, and he tried to get it to first. He did get it to first and got the out there, but that would have been a double play to end the inning. But instead, the baseball gods just punish sometimes that, and backside homer, 3-run homer, you're down 2 runs immediately, just like that. And you got this lefty on the mound with Kleinschmidt. And, for Southern Miss's struggles against lefties, I thought, they battled in there fine to start. And then he rattled off like 12 guys in a row. And I remember I was watching the game with my dad, Glyn, and I looked at him and I was like, this game, we're in the 6th inning, and we've only been watching this game for like an hour. It just started going quick.
Yeah. Two lefties with nasty fastballs rising through the zone, just eating people up, man.
Right. 10 strikeouts for Kleinschmidt. But you're right. Once Southern Miss finally got to him in that 5th inning, which he actually ended up taking the loss, which I don't think either of those pitchers should have gotten.
12-1 last year, something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right. And it was 6 other pitchers they tried to throw in there, and really all of them, like you said, struggled to find pitchers counts. They were putting Southern Miss in favorable situations from the plate, and really, Southern Miss is a good enough team to punish teams that do that to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's Southern Miss credit. I mean, you have to execute, and they did. There were some big hits there when guys ambushed some fastballs, man. So, and that's Southern Miss's bread and butter. We're not going to steal a lot of bases or put pressure on you in that regard, but you get 1 or 2 on, and the 2 and 3 run home run has been our bread and butter for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yes. So. Yes.
And that Wayne Gillespie hit. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Did you hear Jack Duggan's call?
That was awesome, man. That's awesome.
Shout out Jack Duggan, good friend for us. Camden Sundstrom, Glyn, comes in 4 innings to finish that game. That slider was working pretty nice for him. Just 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, also a career high for him. Man, I mean, and we'll get to McCarty English in a minute, but do you feel like Camden Sundstrom might be making some noise to get into a rotation role?
You think about those 2 guys, I call them the Boot Boys. They're both from that central part of Louisiana. Both came in here together. Both were very productive as freshmen, had their moments, got better as the season went on. But now look at both of them have both made huge jumps. And I like the idea of running that lefty and righty combo in a baseball game. I think you're going to see a lot more of that, give them that, that different look. But yeah, I mean, both of them have made huge. Their bodies are better. They're bigger. They're stronger. Both of them are very mature. Both have great pitch mixes. I mean, people are going to enjoy watching those guys for the next couple of years.
I mean, I think Sundstrom probably looked
That's the best.
one of the best.
That's the best his slider's been.
I would agree.
He was commanding his fastball and pitching off of that. So, and
I was
he pitched
thinking
some changeups
about
in
his
there too.
performance in the regional last season when he pitched against Miami and really shut them down. But I really think he even looked better than that the other night. Where and we talked to Oz today on the Eagle Hour, and he was telling us that like that slider looks like a fastball coming out of his arm, right? Mm-hmm. So, and Oregon State just had no answers for it. And he's like, we weren't changing anything. We were just fastball, slider, fastball, slider, fastball, slider.
It just disappears that last 5-6 feet.
Right. It was disgusting, and it was just great to see. I mean, it really was, and really set them up well for the Sunday game, Glyn, with only using 2 pitchers in that Saturday game, when that seemed like a game where, that's a marathon, maybe 5-6 guys get in. It just seemed like one of those games, and they only got out of it with 2. That should give you some confidence going into the, postseason baseball whenever that time comes later on down the road. It's like, listen, if we can get to Saturday and we got Graydon and Camden, in a 1-0 winners bracket game, we feel pretty decent about those guys getting us 7-8 innings.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's early on, but you can see with all the pieces, I can see Oz sitting up in a deer stand during hunting season after fall ball, running through his head how he's going to run, how he's going to run Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you can tell he has a mix he likes, with lefties, righties, and different arm slots. And last year he didn't have that available to him. He just had to pitch guys to death. Now each game he's got 3 or 4 or 5 options. And he's not even pitched everybody yet. There's still guys that coming off rehab stints that are going to make an impact, maybe big impacts by the time you get into conference play. So it's just fun to watch that pitching staff continue to develop.
Well, when you think of Colby Allen, right, and then normally bring in Cross Sibley, so that's your right left there to finish a Friday game, and then ideally Camden Clark would come in the 9th to finish that game off, right, in the first game, and then you got lefty righty with Harris and Sundstrom on Saturday, and then I guess always the scenario was English, and then maybe on the back end a lefty pitcher, maybe a Willoughby, right, or something like that.
Yeah, Willoughby, and then once Chase Adams is fully healthy, there's another fastball slider guy that's going to be trouble for people, especially left dominant lineups.
For sure, but that's not what they did on Sunday, Glyn. 5-1 winners over Baylor. Very strange game. It was.
Let me add the strangeness. I attribute it totally to that umpire. He had one of the smallest strike zones I've seen this season, and I mean, he squeezed everybody. I felt bad for English. It's just something unavoidable. It is what it is.
Yeah, two innings pitched, no hits given up for McCarty, but 4 walks, 2 strikeouts on 50 pitches, and got pulled after 2 innings. Of course, you want to see, you want to see him extended a little bit more than that, of course. But like you said, I don't necessarily think it was English's fault. I mean, it wasn't like he was pitching to contact and Baylor was all over him. He just couldn't get a swing and miss, number one. But number 2, I think Baylor was kind of understanding that this guy, unless it's right down the middle, I'm not swinging on it.
Right. If it's not in yours, pick your zone. If it's not in your zone, leave it alone. They did a good job of that. Southern did as well. I mean, the umpire, was equally punishing to both staffs.
Right. I think, let's see, 8 walks to Southern Miss, 14 left on for them, 13 left on for Baylor, and 9 walks. And very uncharacteristic for Southern Miss baseball to instigate 9 walks. And I think they had 3 or 4 hit by pitches. So 12 to 13 free passes. But when it's on both sides, Glenn, it's pretty apparent that it's not necessarily the pitch.
It's telling, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think of Crabtree? He came in after McCarty threw 2 innings of work, just that 1 hit and 5 strikeouts. I thought his fastball was back. I thought that looked like out of that arm slot. They changed it in the fall that, Oz told us that it looked like maybe a beach ball coming across the plate, just how he doesn't, hide it well because he throws, that fastball changeup. But, I thought he looked great on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's a guy, they changed some things around, and he's starting to find himself and find confidence in what he's doing. You have a couple of good outings that'll change his world for him. I mean, that's just another nice piece, you can throw in there in the middle innings, another great bridge piece for you, and a guy that, if you need him to start on a Tuesday, he can do that too. So just another nice addition. And I think he's just kind of feeling himself right now. I think he's going to really lock into what his arsenal is and get better and better.
For sure. Sibley comes in after kind of that, it's funny because Sibley will come in and look like, the best pitcher in the world. And then, maybe the outing before he looks like he can't hit the strikes. I bet that's
let some fastballs up.
Right.
He's a guy coming out of that arm slot. He needs that ball to run into righties, run away from lefties, and sometimes it gets flattened up, and that's at 90 miles an hour that can be a problem. So,
yeah, for sure. But he gets you nice 3 innings of work there. 2 hits.
Yeah, that was huge.
On a Sunday game, and then Sam Mitchell. Man, I mean, I feel like my bus has been rolling right along with Sam Mitchell so far in the few outings that we've seen him. He came in an inning and a third, 3. He did have 3 walks, but again, I think I attributed that to the strike zone. But he had a big strikeout.
A little bit.
He's
a strike thrower, dude.
Right. He had a big strikeout in that top of the 8th inning when they had 2 guys on, and he put one in the dirt, and the guy just whiffed on it. It was pretty beautiful. And then to finish it out on Sunday was J.W. Armistead with the, just to get the soft contact, 2 outs there to end it. And Golden Eagles in this thing with a sweep, and it was impressive. I'm going to run through these numbers, Glyn, and then I'm going to get your kind of just overall thoughts on
our
grade.
Can't look over, that little stint for JW was really big. He's had some of the best stuff coming out of fall baseball, and in the spring, preseason, that running fastball and the change in the slider. He's poised to really help Southern Miss in middle innings and be a top 2 or 3 guy out of the bullpen. And after a rough go earlier, that was nice to see him come in there and nail that down and get the big strikeout late. So
for sure, the starters from the pitching, Glyn, 12 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 2.25 ERA, 15 strikeouts. The bullpen, 15 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 1.80 ERA, and 22 strikeouts. So 37 strikeouts as a staff over the weekend. I mean, it's just pretty daggone good against really good competition. One thing I did want to mention, and this is something that you brought up to me, but I did notice and was, obviously we weren't there to cover the tournament or else this would have been definitely asked, but Golden Eagles sub-in William Tonsmeyer in the top of the 7th inning for Caleb Stelly, and he finishes the game out in center field. That is something to monitor going forward.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. So,
and obviously now I'm very interested to see that lineup card tomorrow night against Bama. But of course, Stelly, for those who don't know, he's been dealing with that back problem all fall, didn't play all fall, got back.
Surgery.
Right. Felt like he was kind of back to his normal self in the spring. So that was a little interesting. He led off the first 2 games, and then they had Higdon leading off, which was kind of confusing with the way Higdon's kind of been struggling with the bat. And they moved Stelly down, I think, to the 6 or 7 hole in that Sunday game, and then pulled him in the 7th inning and burned the red shirt for Tonsmeyer. So very interesting.
My initial thought is you worry about that bat, getting tight on him, and that can be for multiple reasons, coming off that surgery. Perhaps it was just getting tight on him, but hope he's going to be okay. But Tonsmeyer is a talented young guy. Got in there and hit 2 balls hard, right out of the gate. Didn't appear intimidated whatsoever. And he's a legit 4.5 guy. He'll be valuable to you defensively out in center field when he is out there.
Yeah, and obviously he had a big out in the 9th inning. I remember a ball that was hit right towards him. It was kind of a difficult one to judge. It was kind of difficult to judge any balls towards the outfield this season. Not this season, this weekend with all the wind and stuff.
Yeah.
And Tonsmeyer made a nice play on it to, not allow a runner to reach. Glyn, I guess overall grade, I mean, you would have to think A+ for the weekend. I mean, getting out of there with 3 wins, and now you're sitting really pretty in your non-conference. I mean, regardless of what happens, I mean, obviously you would want to win your series against Louisiana Tech and North Alabama. I believe it was the next 2 series, which you would think they would definitely win the series against North Alabama, and then you'd think you'd get 2 out of 3 at La Tech. If you could just
get baseball, man.
Yeah, they're
a good team.
And then if you could just split these midweeks, I mean, you feel really good heading into conference play here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and they're a team that has yet to really find themselves offensively. They're showing signs, and they're still, like we mentioned earlier, really key parts of this pitching staff that have not yet been able to be plugged in. I mean, once he gets his arms healthy and back, I mean, he could put together some really nice, groups of pitching, depending on what night it is.
For sure. Okay. Anything else, Glyn, on the 2026 Round Rock Classic? Would you say probably biggest sweep, definitely in the Ostrander era? And I would say probably in the last 10 years, probably the best weekend result.
Yeah, even look over the last 2 decades, and that's signature weekend for Southern Miss baseball. Just huge.
For sure. Huge.
Huge.
All right, Alabama tomorrow night, Glyn, at the Pete, which I just think it's so great that these SEC teams come to the Pete and we get to see them, in front of that crowd. Bama 7-1 right now. They lost their opening game against Washington State and have not lost since. Won that series against Washington State, beat Samford last week in the midweek. Let me pull up who was pitching that game, and we don't. I did hear that
they throw midweek because their weekend rotation is absolutely dominant. But they've had some close, low-scoring midweek games with Alabama State and Samford. I think there was other one-run games. So I'm curious.
JT Blackwood was their midweek starter last week, and I think he sounds familiar. I think he pitched against Southern Miss in that regional. But for Southern Miss, we do know that Dylan Causey is starting on the mound for the Golden Eagles. So, did he appear this weekend in Round Rock? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he got in there for an inning.
The Friday game.
Came in and got 1 or 2 outs, and that was his stint.
Well, hopefully, maybe he can give Southern Miss 1 or 2 or 3 innings. But obviously, it's going to be a Johnny Holstaff approach, like it always is for these midweeks.
Probably will be for Bama as well. So. The thing you looking at numbers with Alabama, Justin LeBron, one of the top 3 shortstops in the country, already has 5 home runs. He's 8 for 8 on the base paths. I mean, he's a stud. I'm surprised he's still at Alabama, to be honest. A team that's a lot like Southern offensively, the biggest difference is the front of their lineup has speed. And that's where they can manufacture and create some stuff where Southern maybe couldn't do that, where Southern relies on a big gap shot or a 2 or 3 run home run. Bama's offense is a little bit layered, with that speed in the front of the lineup. But both teams are hitting in the 270s. I think Bama's got 13 home runs to Southern's 9 home runs.
Yeah, very, very similar offensive team.
The biggest difference is they're 15 for 15 on the base paths, and they've only committed 4 errors totally the whole season, where Southern is struggling a little bit. I think they're below 950 right now, which, that'd be one of the lower numbers Southern's put out defensively in a while. So they've got things to clean up in that regard.
Yeah, Golden Eagles just 2 for 2 on the base path, which is kind of, I know they're not a running team, but that's just I think you at least need to let the other team respect it, a little bit. But I know they're not a running team. Seth Smith, one thing I wanted to finish this on.
Oh, yeah, great call. Yeah.
Seth Smith, what a weekend. I think he batted over 600, clutch hits. I think he's worked himself into the starting lineup, at least for this week, for sure. And I think you have an argument to be putting him at the leadoff spot.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, as they really just don't have a true leadoff guy. I mean, he showed he's got barrel skills. So, and he's, he knows the zone, so he's a guy that could go up there and do some work for you. That's an interesting thought.
I just think that the things they've tried at the leadoff just haven't worked yet, and you're not moving Urban, right? I mean, he's perfect. You don't move Urban at all.
Two-hole guy.
Russo, Gillespie, I don't think you move those guys either. They had great weekends. They're just trying to figure out who's that number 1, and I think of Smith with the way he can. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a Dalton McIntyre. And now he doesn't have the speed that McIntyre has, but the way that McIntyre could just punch one out for a single almost every single time, not the infield stuff that he and Urban, him and Cook.
He's got some barrel skills for sure,
right.
And
he's
great
able
awareness
to
of the strike zone.
Take a 2-2 pitch and put it into center field for a single, and then you got one on with Urban and Russo and Gillespie up, right? I just think
that's a good thought. I think this is just going to be a season where Southern just does not have a true leadoff hitter, but they've had seasons before where that was the case. You just kind of got spoiled with, the last couple of guys we've had.
For sure. For sure. All right, Glenn, anything else you want to hit on before we get out of here and we go prepare to, well, tomorrow we're preparing to cover Alabama Southern Miss.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the ballpark. I'm curious to see what Caleb Stelly's situation looks like. Equally excited to see what Tunsmeyer, can do if he's a guy that has to get in there early and, take his lumps, but he's a guy that's such a good athlete. He's just going to get better and better as he gets his reps. See what that situation looks like and, see, if Seth can continue to progress and take the next step. Can he lock down a leadoff spot or lock down shortstop? He's also a guy you get in trouble with, at second base. He's, he can play there too. There are lots of places he can help you. And he had a huge weekend. I mean, I'm happy for him. He's been through some struggles over the last couple of years. A guy that's used to being on the field his whole life, that's hard to sit and watch, from the dugout. So feel good for him.
And Morrison had a nice bounce back. And I think he putting him back down to the 5-6 role like we thought he was going to be the whole time, I really thought that helped him because he saw a lot more fastballs like you were talking about in the preview show, and he ended up 5 for 10 on the weekend in hits. So
and Davis seeing it too. He's seeing the ball better, so I was happy to see that with him.
I'm definitely happy to see that considering that I'm on his bus.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll get out of here tonight. Shorter episode, but we wanted to recap that. You can't just not recap that the tournament there. That was an incredible showing by the Golden Eagle baseball team, and
one for the record books, man.
Yeah, and there's no blemish in this schedule. It's like, oh, you get a break? No, Alabama's coming to town tomorrow night, and then La Tech on the road, and then the number 4 ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs coming to town next Tuesday. So no blemish in this schedule.
Alabama's 5, is that correct? Number 5.
No, that's what people are getting confused on. Bama.
Yeah,
Bama
what are they ranked?
They're not ranked.
Oh, okay. Well, I totally took
everybody's
the bait on
looking
that.
at that because like their A and Arkansas's A is like identical.
That's what it was.
In baseball, for whatever reason, Arkansas and Alabama's like logo is almost identical, but it's not like that in football. It's just like that in baseball. Because you're right. Because Bob on the Eagle Hour today was telling me like, no, I promise you they're number 6. I'm like, no, that's Arkansas.
No. Good.
But I think they're right on the verge of being ranked for sure. So,
top 30-ish.
Yeah. So it's no joke opponent. I'm not saying that they're not ranked. Suck, but and of course Southern Miss ended their season last year, so they're going to have some things to remember from that.
Yeah.
So, we will be there tomorrow night at the Pete. Glenn, how can people read you? How can people follow you? All that stuff.
Yeah, just type in one word, goldeneaglepride.com. That takes you to our main page, and you have the ability to join us. We still have a 50% off right now for an annual subscription, and love to have you.
Yep, and you can follow all of our coverage, hubcityspokes.com/sports. Subscribe to A View from the Press Box wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe on our YouTube channel to see our beautiful faces. We will have more live shows coming up soon, and we were going to have a live show after this, but some scheduling stuff and my mouth, all that just didn't happen. But we will do some more live shows because we like hanging out with you guys, and we'll get that going. But for now, we'll see you after the Alabama game, probably Wednesday, Thursday, to recap that, and then look ahead to Louisiana Tech. But that's Glenn Dyar with 247 Sports. I'm Dima Mixon, and that was A View from the Press Box.